who was really close to Jay-Z at a certain point as well. With that being said, 50 Cent, though, reacted to it, and this is what he had to say on Instagram. He posted 2 photos of Jay-Z, and in the caption says, "Damn, they got your man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this."
It's all a part of this Epstein file. Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch, and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting what did she get, $50 billion, or not getting the syphilis?
New disclosures tied to the Epstein investigation have sparked fresh scrutiny, as reports indicate Jay-Z's name appears within recently released materials, immediately reigniting long-standing online speculation about his past connections. While rumors have circulated for years, this latest wave of documents has pushed the conversation into the spotlight again, drawing heightened public attention and renewed media focus. With additional details still unfolding, observers are closely monitoring how investigators, officials, and institutions respond as the broader picture continues to take shape.
Posted the article on his page and wrote the caption, "I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix?" Then he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, "Damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this."
Latest tranche of Epstein files from the Department of Justice contains around 3 million documents, thousands of still photographs, and hundreds of hours of video.
As federal authorities revisited earlier records connected to the Epstein investigation, previously submitted anonymous tips reportedly resurfaced, some of which were sent to a federal hotline after Epstein's arrest. One such tip referenced claims involving Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein, allegedly dating back to the 1990s, though these statements remain unverified and unsupported by confirmed evidence. While certain individuals connected to the case have stated that well-known figures were present within Epstein's wider circle, no conclusions have been established, and the renewed attention has primarily intensified public discussion rather than producing verified findings.
with regard to Epstein and some of the celebrity or well-known powerful people who are involved here?
Of course there is.
Absolutely. I'm probably more afraid of the people we don't know about.
Yeah.
The people you don't know about, the people who know that they may be on any kind of list that is...
People who are purposely trying to get that list to stay away or not be on that list, that's who...
Across multiple cases, powerful figures have faced claims that status, connections, or resources were used to limit exposure and manage damaging allegations behind closed doors, a pattern that has fueled long-standing public skepticism. Now, with the release of additional documents tied to the Jeffrey Epstein case, attention has intensified once again, placing renewed focus on individuals whose names surface within these records. While the documents themselves do not establish guilt, their disclosure has amplified scrutiny and reignited broader questions about accountability, transparency, and how influence may shape what reaches the public eye.
I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now.
Jaguar Wright, of course, has been speaking louder than ever about this.
Public commentary has intensified after Jaguar Wright shared her perspective, arguing that Jay-Z has historically faced limited scrutiny, while serious questions circulated quietly behind the scenes. Wright has claimed that insiders were aware of troubling dynamics long before they reached public view, a stance that has fueled online debate rather than established findings. She has also raised pointed assertions about Rihanna and the pressures surrounding her early career and industry contracts, statements that remain allegations but have nonetheless sparked renewed discussion about power, transparency, and how narratives are shaped within the entertainment business.
So nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
You had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Fun to Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, "And we're interested." And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed or through this window, and we're only 29.
Jaguar Wright has stated that she was present during the early phase of Rihanna's rise and recalls conversations that, in her view, focused heavily on Rihanna's young age at the time. Wright has described observing Rihanna frequently surrounded by powerful adults while appearing to lack consistent family oversight during those formative years. She further claims that as Rihanna's career advanced, shifts within her management structure led to tighter professional control, with key decisions increasingly guided by those directing her industry path, assertions that reflect Wright's perspective and continue to circulate as commentary rather than confirmed accounts.
She was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this isn't her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
had
you
to
apologize.
To my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Palm the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around and she's was cool.
She has also referenced Foxy Brown, pointing out that the rapper's early career and formative experiences are discussed far less often, despite having drawn public attention over the years. Wright suggests that Foxy Brown's rise in the industry reflects similar patterns of young talent navigating powerful environments, a perspective that has prompted renewed online conversation while remaining rooted in personal observation rather than established findings.
At 15, 16, 17 years old. She was running all around Philadelphia because Jay-Z promised her that they could be, normal when she wasn't with Corrupt. Corrupt was a fake boyfriend, which is why when they tried to use her to say that she was actually in the car and there with Keepy D and all of that, I'm like, that girl wasn't even there. These women are pawns. Inga Marchand at 14 years old, 14 and a half, going on 15 years old, singing highly explicit and sexually charged, lyrics all written by Sean Carter. What kind of 27-year-old grown man turns a 14, 15-year-old girl virtually into a prostitute and gave her the nickname the Il Nana? No kidding.
According to Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z has long maintained a tightly controlled public image, one that presents near perfection while masking how carefully that image may be constructed behind the scenes. She argues that power, leverage, and narrative control have been central to his career strategy, shaping what the public sees and what remains out of view. This perspective has gained renewed traction amid broader conversations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, whose criminal conduct involved the strategic manipulation of information and influence tied to prominent figures, prompting ongoing debate about how authority and image management can intersect to limit scrutiny.
Son died because he was my son.
He died because of your
He was targeted because he's my son. He was working on his EP. I bought Philadelphia for him so he didn't have to sign to a company because I knew what it was going to do. He interned at Rock Nation. And they approached him to sacrifice me. I saw his death when he was 19. I moved us here to stop it, to prevent it, to avoid it. They take them anyway to show you what the harm is. Right. Giovanni, his death is why I do what I do.
At the same time, Jay-Z has previously been the subject of legal claims tied to alleged past misconduct, matters that were addressed through formal processes and remain separate from any proven wrongdoing. When those claims are discussed alongside public commentary and other unverified assertions, some observers have attempted to link them to wider conversations surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case, despite the absence of confirmed connections. More recently, Gene Deal has added his personal perspective to the mix, further intensifying debate and online discussion while reinforcing that much of the current narrative is driven by opinion, speculation, and public reaction rather than established findings.
I told y'all a lot of stories. I told y'all about Jay-Z, how he was, and it ain't no allege. It ain't no allege. These little girls was from our block. These little girls was from our block. Miss Pleasant ran with them. They all ran together and came to parties and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to let Miss Pleasant, I'm going to try to talk her into telling that story. So y'all bear with me when she come back. She going to see this, but I'm letting y'all know. And don't none of you moderators sit up there and text her and try to forewarn her. I'm going to try to tell her and talk about the situation because it's all a part of this Epstein file. You know, look at that situation where Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls now.
Gene Deal believes the release of Epstein-related documents could place renewed pressure on powerful figures in the music industry, including Jay-Z, as stories once dismissed are now being re-examined in light of emerging information, fueling fresh scrutiny and shifting public perception.
I know at that time,
right,
when he was messing with old girl,
right,
he had to be 30 years in jail.
Oh no. Well, he was in his late 20s, almost 30. You think
he was 30. That nigga was 30. I know that nigga was 30 years old or better. Because I didn't know he was that old.
He used to pull up on the block and pick us up. Like, this is the thing. Like, they were messing with each other. Like, they were locked in for 2 whole years. And
well, Jay was locked in with a lot of people because I ain't gonna say that he was trying to get with Sugar.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I could see that. Pretty girl. Yeah.
He was trying to get with Sugar.
I could see that.
And back in the day, I ain't gonna speak on it, but...
but what?
But nothing. Because you ain't gonna speak on your friend, don't speak on my shit.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna tell it.
Because you know I know that you know that I know that I know that you know that I know what you
don't play yourself, all right? All right. So now, what I'm trying to get y'all to see and what I'm trying to get y'all to say, I didn't lie when I told y'all this was messing with young girls.
Yeah, he was.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I did not lie.
I know this for a fact.
This wasn't no capping the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
You understand? So now when these files come out and they start speaking about these cats and they sexapades and dealing with these young girls.
Gene Deal has spoken about how powerful families, teams, and inner circles often work to shield reputations, explaining that when allegations surface, lawyers step in, public narratives are tightly controlled, and silence itself becomes a calculated response. He suggests that some individuals may know more than they can say, but feel restricted by professional risk or personal consequences. Deal also noted that politicians and public figures once openly linked to major artists are now facing renewed scrutiny as past associations are revisited, making reputation management more critical than ever. This broader conversation inevitably includes Beyoncé, who has publicly stated that she met Jay-Z at 18 and that their relationship developed legally over time. However, alternative perspectives shared by some industry insiders have continued to fuel debate, keeping public discussion active despite the official account.
Started dating Beyonce at 17, 18, he was 30-something. You didn't know his age. When I look back and see how old Jay-Z was, I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67. Something like a 67 right there. 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they say she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's. And Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child. You know, dating her at the age of 30-some years old and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her, and Gabrielle Union is considered 6-7 years older than Beyonce age that she getting. So we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to your letter, I believe that the lawyer was doing what he did, and he threw shade at Puff in the interim of that by saying that all celebrities, you may think all celebrities are alike, you know what I'm saying? He know he's under this situation with Puff. But you got to look at this right here. They sent him a letter. Busby sent him a letter for two reasons, I believe. To open up the floodgate, just like that 1-800 bad boy number did, and people start calling in saying what Puff did to them.
The conversation has also extended to Aaliyah, with Dame Dash stating that both he and Jay-Z expressed professional interest in her, while stressing that she was an adult at the time. This has drawn particular attention given the widely acknowledged and troubling circumstances surrounding Aaliyah's earlier experiences with R. Kelly, which were already a matter of public concern. As a result, some observers have voiced frustration over industry collaborations that proceeded despite that context, reigniting debate about responsibility, awareness, and decision-making within the music business.
You know how he is. It's like, I ain't nothing to do with that.
Damn.
What I would love is for someone to ask him, like, why would you still do a project with that man knowing that he raped Aaliyah? That should be the question. Period. It shouldn't be for me. It should be the question posed to him. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. But that right there was bridge burnt. But I just was like respecting her, respecting the business. But I was I moved out of rock. Like if y'all look at, I left Rockefeller. It wasn't that I got kicked out of Rockefeller. I left Rockefeller. You understand what I'm saying? The option was there for me to stay. I did not want no parts of it. I was done. I left Rockware. Think about it, bro. I said, f all the money, f all this shit. I'm out. Now think about, a lot of men would not have made that choice. But any real man would have to make that choice. I was left no choice. He gave me an offer I could not refuse. Like, we done. You know what I'm saying? You gonna f with this man, you knew he raped my girl, you was in love with her. How could you do that? It's obviously you want me to feel away. Like it wasn't enough money for us to do that. So I was done. I thought I was cool about it. Like I was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just be out. And then I thought I was cool about it. I really did.
So this is after Jay tried to talk to Aaliyah, but she chose you over him.
You know the timeline, bro. He did the project when she died, which was even more disrespectful to me. And I'm not getting.
The attention has now widened beyond any single person, as newly released Epstein-related records have brought additional high-profile names into public conversation, including Bill Gates. The files, which reportedly span millions of pages, include draft emails believed to have been written by Jeffrey Epstein in 2013, one of which references prior interactions with Gates. In that draft, Epstein appears irritated and suggests that Gates wanted certain past communications removed, a detail that has prompted renewed public questioning about why such material would need to be deleted. While the contents remain subject to interpretation and do not establish wrongdoing, their release has intensified debate and added momentum to broader discussions about influence, transparency, and accountability.
It said that Bill Gates wanted to get from him antibiotics to give to Melinda because he got syphilis or he got something.
Damn.
The clap, chlamydia, whatever he got. He got some sort of an STD from a prostitute.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting the, what did she get, $50 billion or not getting the syphilis? Which
well,
would she
whatever
take?
she got. I bet it wasn't syphilis. It was probably the clap. It was probably chlamydia or something like that.
That's no big deal.
But if who knows if that's true, though? Here's the thing. Like, Epstein clearly was some sort of a blackmailer. And this is an email that Epstein wrote. So it could be complete fiction. Epstein could have wrote that just to put pressure on Bill Gates for some fucking business deal. Like, who fucking knows? He could have spread rumors and then said that he'll squash those rumors. But these guys are dealing in deception and blackmail. And so you can't, like, assume that it's true.
Think about how many relationships Epstein had and that he was working almost every one of them, leveraging.
Yeah. Some of the draft emails reference personal matters and are written in a vague, fragmented way, making their intent difficult to interpret, yet they have still prompted public questions about Jeffrey Epstein's proximity to private issues involving Bill Gates, one of the world's most prominent figures. Gates' former spouse, Melinda French Gates, has spoken openly about her disappointment after learning of these reports, adding emotional weight to the discussion. Since then, the conversation has expanded further, with some journalists and commentators suggesting, based on documents and references within Epstein's own messages, that he may not have operated in isolation, including claims that he referenced assisting foreign interests. While these materials remain subject to interpretation and do not establish verified conclusions, they have fueled deeper scrutiny and broadened analysis beyond celebrities and billionaires to the wider networks that may have surrounded him.
This email here, okay? I just texted it to you. Look at this email here. Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you could. Thank you. Hey, send from phone. Unfortunately not. Okay. Unfortunately not. You should make clear that I don't work for Mossad.
Smiley face.
You see it? Yeah. You or I. No, that I don't.
Yes.
Smiley face. So, look, the claims that he was never part of Mossad or didn't work with them or collaborate with them, if you don't believe he did at this point of the game, you may work for Mossad. You know what I'm saying? That you may be them. By the way,
I don't believe that. No, I'm just
yeah. So no, but the point I'm making to you is, guess what Mossad's job is? To gather assets.
Of course.
And guess what CIA's job is?
Same thing.
Guess what MI6's job is?
Same thing.
Everyone. Guess what KGB's job is? Every one of these guys that want to go out there, they want to get intel. So this guy was very useful to Mossad.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation. I think that's crystal clear. There's no question about it. So
Who tends to be the party guy, just like Diddy.
Drugs,
cameras, drugs.
The CIA, as part of MKO, had Operation Climax, where they would lure Zhongs in with drugs and prostitutes, and then this drunk CIA schmuck would sit on the opposite of a two-way mirror and take notes on what, just evil, wicked stuff. And that's what they're using Epstein for, was blackmail operations. And they got some pretty high-level people snared into that. And they haven't released the entire list of close Epstein confidants. But, Israel's former prime minister was one of them.
Barak?
Yes, they got a picture of him visiting Epstein at his New York apartment. And he was well connected to Epstein, but that was all in secret. That is the intelligence part of Mossad. And of course, they couldn't do that without coordinating with the CIA.
I ask this question now. The more I learn, there just always seems to be this connection between the CIA and the Mossad. And I'm going, is it just
No.
They're the same organization. I think the more you look back into history, and it's always somehow the CIA and the Mossad is there on the day that JFK gets shot. We learn about like MLK. We learn about 9/11, and then we're just going, okay, why does it seem like there's a union here, a marriage here?
Mossad is like the sister of the CIA. They're joined at the hip, kind of like Siamese twins, and they use each other for intel and operations and things like that. They are extremely close and in an extremely sensitive relationship. Oh, yeah.
And this is, it totally explains what Epstein was doing. And also Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and didn't he die rather mysteriously? I'm not sure.
He fell off, he found dead off his yacht floating in the water. They claimed it was a heart attack.
Of course.
Just when he was coming under scrutiny for arms dealing and connections with the CIA and being a Mossad agent, actually a double agent with Mossad and KGB. All of a sudden he's found dead floating next to his yacht, and
happens all the time.
Oh yeah. It's just, just one of those things. See what
a ton of Mossad agents, and I think a former prime minister of Israel attended his funeral. So it's like, guys, hey, maybe.
It's like,
Some observers believe these developments reflect more than coincidence, suggesting a broader pattern tied to influence, secrecy, and control rather than isolated actions, though that interpretation remains contested. As debate continues, many are questioning whether individuals whose names surface in these discussions will ever face meaningful scrutiny, or whether power will continue to shape outcomes behind the scenes. With new material still emerging from records connected to Jeffrey Epstein, public attention shows no sign of fading. So where do you stand on these revelations? Share your perspective in the comments.